Welcome to How to Deliver Difficult Messages presented by USLI. We've all been in a situation where bad news has to be delivered, whether it's giving difficult feedback or telling a customer that their premiums have increased. Difficult conversations are inevitable in any workplace. These types of conversations can cause stress and anxiety and can affect your work and productivity. Even though you can't avoid these conversations, there are ways to handle them more effectively. In this class, we'll review how to prepare yourself for the conversation, start the conversation, state your intent clearly and directly, and close the conversation on a positive note. There are a few reasons that conversations end up being difficult. First, you may have had a negative experience either giving or receiving the message, which can influence your current efforts. Second, you may not even realize the impact you're having on the other person. You may think that you're just doing your job and that people should accept what you're saying without negativity, and then are surprised by a negative response. On the other hand, you may worry about the other person's reactions, such as anger, resentment, or dismissal. You may even be concerned about losing business if you tell customers what they don't want to hear. Preparation is critical. To prepare yourself on a personal level, identify specific elements of the discussion that might be causing anxiety or stress. Stress is often created when we make assumptions about the situation itself or the person we are communicating with. For example, you may think that the person will react in a way that you won't be able to manage. Think through and write down all possible reactions beforehand. Possible reactions that you might anticipate are anger, disrespect, and even dismissal. Ask yourself how realistic these reactions are, and if they are actually potential responses, how you would respond. Preparing for a difficult conversation also requires thoughtful consideration of questions like these. What is the situation? Do I have enough information to understand it fully? What are the facts? What assumptions am I making? What is the other person's point of view and his or her assumptions? How would he or she feel about my message? What are my objectives for the conversation? And what is the ideal outcome? Be sure to write down your answers to these questions. Your answer will uncover your own insecurities and help you focus on outcomes rather than emotions. As part of preparation, you need to plan the conversation. You should never wing it, and you should never procrastinate. The sooner you communicate what might be bad news to a coworker or customer, the more control he or she will have over the outcome, making a mutually agreeable conversation possible. Before you deliver what might be received as bad news, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Empathy is critical. Focus on the person's wants and expectations. Show them that you care about them and their business. The same is true for difficult conversations in your office. Focus your attention on them, not you. Let's talk about delivering the message itself. While you don't want to beat around the bush, you also don't want to bombard the person with news that could be difficult to take in. You wouldn't say to a customer, for example, "Guess what? Your rates are increasing," or to a team member, "You're just not meeting expectations on the job." Here are 4 ways you can improve your delivery. First, focus on your desire to provide support. You might say, "As you know, one of my goals is always to provide you with the best support possible." Second, start with the positive or what you can do rather than what you can't do. With the team member, share what you've observed that they did well. Third, provide background information. Explain the situation and then the decision-making process that went into the final outcome. Be careful here. Don't say, "This is our policy," or "We've always done it this way." Take responsibility and don't blame others for your message. And finally, acknowledge the person's feelings. Now that we reviewed some ways to prepare for a difficult conversation and how to start the conversation, let's talk about staying on track, being clear and direct. First, choose neutral words. Here are some words that can trigger a negative response with their alternatives. Avoid using you when delivering your message. It sounds like you are blaming the other person, and you never want to put someone on the defensive. Rather than you, try, we can, let's do this together, or what I suggest is. Additionally, the calmer you are when you deliver the message, the calmer it will be received. Use your most calming but confident tone of voice and deliver news in a moderated pace. Don't rush to get the message out. Also, don't get defensive if the other person gets upset or angry. Be quiet and let the other person express his or her concerns. Listen and respond, and don't get stuck in your own emotional reactions. Finally, end with being clear on what they can expect. What people want to know is, what's going to happen now? A common mistake is being vague about our new commitments. You want the other person to feel that they can still rely on you, even if a mistake has been made that you or your company is responsible for. For your team members, they also want to feel that they are valuable and that they can rely on you for support. Here are some ways to ensure that you and the person you are communicating with feel better about the conversation. Restate any agreements you may have made. You can say something as simple as, just so we're on the same page, what we agreed on was, do a reality check. Do not focus on how they're feeling, but on the outcome itself. You wouldn't say, do you feel better now? Or, are you still angry? But you could say, how do you feel about this plan? Restate your desire to provide service and/or support. Always thank the person and refer to future contact. I look forward to talking to you next month. Or, if you are speaking to a team member, let's get together next week to check in on your progress. Some things you should never do when delivering difficult messages include argue with the person, ignore their perspective, keep restating the bad news, say that your hands are tied, or state that you would do something that you really can't do. For example, change a premium increase or give more of a raise to someone on your team. Delivering difficult messages requires thought and preparation. It requires empathy and understanding. Most of all, having tough conversations requires confidence. Remember that the outcomes you are striving for are mutual respect and stronger relationships. Let's listen to a couple of examples of someone delivering bad news on the phone.
Hello, this is John from Superior Agency. I just found out that there will be an increase in your premium. You didn't tell us that there was a vacant building adjoining your property.
What? You're the one who gave me the quote.
I know, but you never mentioned the vacant building and...
But you never asked me.
Well, my hands are tied. There's nothing I can really do about it, actually.
Well, this is totally unacceptable. I'm just going to cancel this policy and go somewhere else. Now let's listen to a good example of someone delivering a difficult message using the techniques we have discussed.
Hello, Kia. This is John from Superior Agency. How are you today?
I'm doing well, John. How are you?
I'm good, Kia. I wanted to call you today to let you know that there has been a change in the premium amount we quoted on your policy. When our inspection team came out to look at your property, they found there was a vacant building adjoining your property, which would increase the liability and therefore the premium.
Well, that's not good. The premium is already $100 over what I wanted to spend on insurance. You should have asked me about that when you provided the quote.
I understand this is a surprise. The reason for the change in premium is that if anything were to happen on the vacant property, you might be liable for it. I wouldn't want you to have something like that happen.
Well, how much is it going to go up?
The premium has increased by $100.
What? Well, I just can't understand why no one told me about this.
I can understand that this is frustrating. One thing that we've talked about before is the service and support that we provide, and that we want to continue to provide to your business.
I understand that, but this is still a steep increase.
Yes, I understand. This policy provides great coverage, and as I said, we provide exceptional service. You know I'm always here when you call.
That's true. I just wish I would have known.
One thing I can do is review the policy when it comes up for renewal to make sure we have all of our bases covered.
Well, that would be great. Thanks for calling, John. I'm sorry you had to deliver this news.
You're welcome, Kia. I want you to know that I appreciate your business. Have a great day.